You know what? You do it. Me. But it's your list. You know, it's fine. I gave you an outline. This is your moment. Take the stage. You're not still mad about the race, are you? No, not at all. Frick off. I've got other projects to be working on. So you go on and just do what you do. Got it? Well, if you say so. I suppose we are doing this then. On this YouTube channel, we are in love with video games. But it can be said that not all video games are created equal. So today, we are looking at video game genres and subgenres to see which are the best, in our opinion, and which ones need to be cast off to the deepest bowels of hell. It is time for a video game tier list. Let's get into it. We kick things off with the B tier. These are genres which set the baseline for what is a good game genre. However, these tend to be rather run-of-the-mill, in which case there is no greater example than the humble platformer. Whether it is Sonic the Hedgehog, Lara Croft, or the hit game Celeste, platformers rely on a tired and true formula of using acrobatic feats to make it from point A to point B. It sets the stage for B tier because it is just so basic. When you've played one platformer, you have played them all. Every Sonic game is relatively the same, just as every Mario game is the same, and every Lara Croft is the same, and every Crash Bandicoot is the same. You get the idea. And this principle leads us into our next genre, which is shooting games, primarily first-person shooters. The FPS genre is in B tier because, just like with the platformer, your goal is to get from point A to point B. Only in this case, you're given a gun. So whether it is Halo or COD or Far Cry, you are falling into very much the same gameplay trap. But what happens when you combine the platformer with the first-person shooter? You get the Metroidvania, games which pair running and gunning with navigating complex environments, often branching out from a main hub world, and also throwing in collectathon elements. Savage Planet and ReCore are the games which come to mind. They tell interesting stories, but the lack of reinventing the wheel is why they also remain in B tier. Let's move on to something a little different. The next B tier category is sanctioned racing. You may find that odd, given that we are a racing YouTube channel, but you need to understand there are multiple types of racing game within the genre. Sanctioned racing is exclusively closed track, ranging from Forza Motorsport to Grid to Project Cars and everything along those lines. There is a lot of repetition in the types of races offered, but also a lot of restrictions on vehicle types and vehicle tuning. These games also tend to lack any semblance of story beyond you as the main character trying to flesh out your racing career. So B tier it is. Moving right along, we have gambling games, be it card or board games. Simply taking these games and making them electronic is not at all creative, though there are notable exceptions like Balatro. It manages to secure a B tier ranking simply because addiction is real. A fork of gambling games would definitely be trading card games, stuff like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering. By following the same conventions, these games make it into B tier, for better or for worse. The next genre in the list is actually even more niche, and it happens to be rhythm games. Osu, Elite Beat Agents, Guitar Hero, Rock Band. The reason you cannot mess up a rhythm game is because, so long as the music is good, that will be enough for the player. It is an easy B tier. From there, we have the entire strategy umbrella: turn-based strategy, turn-based tactics, real-time strategy, and real-time tactics. This encompasses everything from Civilization to End War to Advance Wars. These games are challenging, require you to effectively manage resources, and they are often infinitely replayable. So why B tier, you may wonder? By their very nature, strategy games have their roots in a lot of card and board games, as well as some tabletop RPGs. Bringing those mechanics to the electronic age makes damage calculation easier, but a game of chess is still a game of chess, regardless of if you replace the pieces with tanks and infantry. We are now left with one more B tier genre, and that would be sports. Stuff like SSX Snowboarder or even something like Rocket League. Basically, if you like a sport, having a digital version of that sport is going to be good. That said, it falls into the same lack of creativity and lack of story we saw with sanctioned racing. With the B tier now filled up, we can move on to the other tiers, so let us now consider genres which simply do not make the cut. First on the C tier list is a bit of a hodgepodge, puzzle games which double as visual novels. This is stuff like Ace Attorney, Danganronpa, Valhalla, and Road 96. These games tend to have phenomenal stories and rather complex solutions to their puzzles. The only problem is, once you have completed these stories 100%, there is absolutely zero replay value. A person might crack open a good book multiple times, but that takes less effort than a visual novel where you have to solve the same puzzles on every single playthrough. And things do not get much better as you enter the realm of Match 3 games. Games like Puzzles and Dragons or Honey Pop. Most of these games are considered time wasters more than anything else, though in the case of Honey Pop, that game is simply a meme. Oh, and if you happen to play Honey Pop for other reasons, let me just advise you that AI chatbots are a lot easier to come by now. Continuing the proliferation of time wasters, we have tower defense games. This includes Orcs Must Die and Starship Defense. These games can be challenging, but they become repetitive so quickly that they can never escape the mediocrity of C tier. Next, we have party games like Mario Party and WarioWare. While it is true that multiplayer is the focal point of these games, when it comes to single player, these games can quickly become repetitive, much like the other genres in C tier. And the last genre to grace this particular tier is the roguelike or roguelite. The games which come to mind for us are Adventure Bar Story, Adventure Labyrinth Story, and Reigns. Roguelikes and roguelites tend to be choose-your-own-adventure games, which allow you to build your character how you see fit. Balatro is even considered a roguelite because it is about building out your deck. Yet the struggle of these particular games is that once you die, you start over from the beginning. As you improve, you can create better and better builds. But again, there is just too much repetition for these games to be anything beyond C tier, at least for us. There you have it. C tier is done. Let's now make our way into D tier, reserved for genres which are more frustrating than fun. We are going to start with fighting games this time, and to be honest, we don't have any memorable games which come to mind here. This genre is avoided by us because it is essentially quick time events, the game. Memorizing button combos does not sound like a good time, so D tier is where they belong. From there, we have gacha games. These games begin as free-to-play and encompass a variety of game elements overlapping the other genres. Yet the one thing gacha games have in common is that they are all pay to win. We have played Fire Emblem Heroes and Mario Kart Tour, both games being pay to win, because at some point you cannot keep up with the difficulty spike. We prefer to save our money, so into D tier they go. Honorable mention goes to Forza Horizon here, because it is technically a gacha game, despite the wheel spins often just being given for free. Whether or not Microsoft ever understood the assignment will forever be a mystery to us. From there, the next D tier is horror games. We did think about putting this in C tier because a good horror game is like a good visual novel. You can enjoy the experience, but it won't be as powerful on the second and third playthrough. The reason it ends up in D tier, however, is because many of the scares are just plain awful. Like, if you overplay your hand before the halfway point, you've lost your audience. And the final D tier genre is going to be Souls-likes. This will likely earn some major criticism from the audience, but hear us out. A game like Elden Ring is amazing to watch. We have watched other YouTubers play Elden Ring, and they did a phenomenal job of it. But there is simply nothing about Souls-like games which draw us to pick up a controller and attempt them for ourselves. Nothing. Raw dogging a boss fight for 4 hours, as one YouTuber put it, is not our idea of a good time. That sounds like absolute hell for the sake of it. So yes, D tier is the decision when it comes to actually playing. Now, before we can move back into A tier, we need to bring up the worst of the worst. The brown medal of absolute bullshit goes to truck simulators. Seriously. You can blame SnowRunner and Star Trucker both for this. Both games have the driving aspect play second fiddle to other bullshit game mechanics. They simply do not understand the assignment. Star Trucker is especially egregious because you spend more time not driving your truck than you do actually driving it. And the other two genres in F tier are going to be MOBA games, which are massively online battle arenas like League of Legends, and general battle royale games the likes of Fortnite and whatever the hell else. Basically, games where you have to rely on the antics of other people are just a waste of time, energy, and life itself. Every MOBA and every general battle royale needs to be set on fire. No exceptions. Okay, if you've lasted this long, then it is time to make our way back up the list and into the truly phenomenal game genres. Let us kick off the A tier with stealth games. Hitman, Metal Gear, even Far Cry Primal counts because it is Far Cry without guns and requires you to rely on your wits for most of the action. These games are truly designed to make you think, with many of them also boasting incredible stories and execution. Adjacent to stealth games are survival games, such as No Man's Sky, Subnautica, and even BioShock could count as one. These games deserve to be in A tier, because they are constantly teaching the player while also using the environment to challenge the player just as much as any adversary might. Truly deserving of A tier. Moving right along on the A tier list, we have hunting games. This is everything from Call of the Wild to Monster Hunter, and you may think this to be an out-of-character designation by us here on the channel. While it is true we have had our share of gripes about both of these games, the truth of the matter is, between Call of the Wild and Monster Hunter World, we have invested over 550 hours. No matter how bad these games can be, that investment alone earns them a right to be considered almost top tier. But as we change gears, you may be wondering why we haven't again brought up racing games. Well, at the A tier, we have battle racing. This ranges from Burnout to Split Second, Mario Kart to Crash Team Racing, and even Need for Speed Rivals. In these games, it is not simply about taking first place, it is about making your opponents suffer. Battle racing games usually rely on weaponry in some way, and the vehicle stats simply do not matter as much. A low-tier car can still destroy a high-tier car if the loadout and tactics are good, so it earns its place in A tier. We have two more genres in this tier. The first is life sims, whether that is Animal Crossing, or Hako Life, or Harvest Moon, or Rune Factory. All of these games are very casual, where anyone can pick up and play, but they also focus primarily on the grind. You will sink hundreds of hours into these games, so they are very good, but they are not quite S-tier material. And the final A tier happens to be crime dramas like Grand Theft Auto and Mafia. Red Dead Redemption is also in the list, but we still need to play it. What makes these games so good is they are very theatrical, while also placing the player into a reality where the player can just let off some steam. And yet, they too are not in S tier. The thing which holds crime dramas back is not so much the gameplay, as it is the affiliation the player would have with the characters in that world. For example, we loved Mafia 1, but hated Mafia 2, because the characters in the latter were simply insufferable. When spectacle is the selling point, it really can be a double-edged sword. But now we are ready to advance to the highest tier, the S tier of game genres. There are three, though only one can be considered the best of the best, and I can assure you that you have no idea which one it is. In third place on the S tier is adventure role-playing games. Everything from Fallout to Elder Scrolls to Yakuza Like a Dragon, games where you build your character from the ground up, and you live a life that the real-world you could only dream of. Remember how we said that roguelikes and roguelites were in C tier? Role-playing games are also choose your own adventure, but the reason they score so highly is because they are about the long game. It isn't about building 100 variations of your character, it is about building your character over 100 hours. It is the very heart of what gaming is supposed to be. Taking the mantle of second place, we have open world racing games. This is actually a bit of a nebulous category for a lot of reasons. You have everything from Need for Speed to The Crew to Midnight Club. These are games where you race in more of an open world environment, far removed from any official racing course. These games often feature both official and unofficial races, with the occasional emphasis on breaking the law, similar to the crime drama games mentioned earlier. But the true piece de resistance of open racing is not racing at all. It is taking your favorite car and just driving normally. Even this road trip talk is a crowning example of why we play these games. We are going literally the speed limit or slightly over it and just enjoying the moment. You can't ask for anything better than that. Well, you can, and that is where we get into the final and first place genre of S tier. And the crown goes to builder games. Yes, builder games. Whether it is City Skylines or Minecraft or other games like Factorio or Kerbal, these games have the luxury of being completely casual while also offering truly limitless replayability. Every builder game is a portal to thousands of hours of entertainment, limited only by your imagination. It is not simply S tier, it is double S tier. There we are, folks, nearly every video game genre you can find in gaming today, categorized into our humble hierarchy and displayed before you here. We know we missed a few here and there, but this video is going to be pushing 20 minutes, so this is the best we can conjure up. Let us know what you think in the comments. I have to go find where Madeline ran off to, so we will be seeing you in a future video.